Most consumer virtual private networks are terrible. That is, at least if privacy is your main concern. There are of course different threat models which will vary for each person, but as a general rule, most VPNs are just scams stealing your browsing data. Sometimes they even make you pay for it. But there is an issue at user side when it comes to privacy and VPNs, even the trusted ones. When you visit a website over a VPN, the only thing that changes on your advertising profile they maintain is your IP address. Websites will still be able to track your browsing history and identify you through your browsing habits. The only people you are protecting your browsing history from are your internet service provider. And that's only assuming you have a proper VPN that doesn't leak your private information to anyone. To understand why this is a case, you need to learn 3 things. What is a virtual private network, how VPNs work, and how websites track you. To answer the first question, we are going to look at the purpose why virtual private networks entered the market. As internet was becoming predominantly widespread means of communication, companies started building local networks to speed up their business. But as businesses grew in size, many of them started to spread to off-site locations and send their employees to work from home or while traveling. To connect 2 company local area networks at a reasonable distance, business would have to dedicate a real-world connection through physical infrastructure such as leased lines. This wasn't a problem if a company had 2 short-distance networks to bridge. But the longer the distance and the more networks a company needed, the cost of leased lines would grow exponentially. Internet is a public network, open and visible to everyone. No company could afford to use the open internet and risk data breaches and have their private information stolen by anyone. They needed a secure connection that was fast, reliable, and cost-effective. Thus came virtual private networks. A VPN is a private network that makes a virtual connections routed through a public network, which could easily be, and in most cases even was, the internet. Connection through a VPN could answer specific company needs like speed, data integrity, or confidentiality. Virtual private network is a flexible model that can adapt to various standards that corporations needed to adopt. This is the first, very important point. There is no single standard for building a VPN. Each provider has its own structure and protocols, which offer different features, and not all of them are privacy. So how do VPNs work? Basically, what a VPN does is that it takes packets of data that would normally run through an insecure network like internet, encapsulates them in an entirely new packet, and puts its own VPN header on top of it, masking the original source of information. This process is called tunneling, and it is how VPNs mask your IP address. This is why you can trick websites to having a different IP and bypass geolocation censorship. But this is not what guarantees the confidentiality of your data. For that, you need encryption. Data confidentiality was the most important feature companies usually needed. VPNs achieve that by encrypting the traffic between a client and the VPN server. This means that a company VPN client can encrypt data coming from their employee's laptop working out in the field and connect it to a local Wi-Fi. For companies, this is a near-perfect security, because they can choose to host the VPN server at their own headquarters where the VPN decrypts all the traffic. Encryption doesn't necessarily mean privacy. For companies, encrypting their network gave them security layer to guard their data from outside adversaries. But it didn't give their employees within their network any level of privacy, because the leadership of the company had direct access to their VPN server and thus to traffic of everyone connected to that VPN. With your consumer VPN, you don't own the VPN server. You have to trust a company maintaining the VPN server with your data. Encryption still takes place on your device, where a VPN client configures your computer's connection to be routed and encrypted through the VPN. When the VPN server receives your data, it decrypts it and sends the request to a website you are trying to visit. Purely from analyzing the IP address, the website will only see connection from a private VPN server and not yours, provided it's a good VPN that doesn't leak other data that can identify you. So by design, this is a totally different model from end-to-end encryption in email communication, and you should adjust your expectations accordingly. The reason why VPNs work to protect corporate privacy but fail at guarding consumer privacy is the fundamental design of VPN technology. VPN server is always going to know some personal identifiable information about you. Whether it's a real IP address, information you submitted upon account creation, and information taken from your payment method. The process of collecting this information is called login, and there is not much you can do to verify what a VPN company really does with user logs. To help you better understand the issue with privacy on VPN, we are going to compare end-to-end encrypted email service and a VPN service provided by the same company. ProtonMail's end-to-end encryption is done so well that if you lose your password, they are only able to recover access to your account, but all your messages will be discarded forever. You lose your decryption key. This may come as inconvenience, but it is actually an excellent defense mechanism to protect yourself from hackers. No one, not even ProtonMail, can get access to your messages. But the same company that offers ProtonMail also offers ProtonVPN, and your expectations for privacy of these two products should differ significantly. With email encryption, ProtonMail can block itself from accessing your messages easily. Users generate decryption keys and ProtonMail exchanges encryption keys. ProtonMail doesn't decrypt your message. Your web browser does, but ProtonVPN has to both encrypt and decrypt your information, making ProtonVPN server a single point of failure, a big cybersecurity no-go. Disclaimer, this is not just about ProtonVPN. Every VPN provider has this problem. It's technologically impossible to create a consumer VPN with perfect privacy. Are VPNs useless for general internet consumers? For vast majority of VPNs out there, yes. But for the trusted few, and for specific threat models, VPNs can offer some protection from your ISP, advertisers, and non-state hackers. For example, the United States Federal Communications Commission recently repealed a rule barring ISPs from selling your browsing history for advertising purposes. This is incredible invasion of privacy because they basically record what you do in your living room to manipulate your economic activity. So if you are in the United States, ISPs are selling your browsing history to whomever they want. This is not just a privacy violation but also a security risk, because they are selling your private information over internet, and once they sell your browsing habits, hackers and foreign governments can and certainly do intercept those exchanges to steal a copy of your private life. They are databases of private information on millions of people available for sale or for free, and you'll never notice until you become a victim of a cybercrime. Your security is in your hands only, provided you can find a trusted VPN server, but be aware we are talking about a great deal of trust here. It's sensible to hide your browsing habits from your ISP. But the way the internet works, you always have to trust someone, and you need to decide for yourself whether it's going to be your monopolistic internet service provider giving you data caps, internet censorship, and overpriced slow broadband, or a virtual private network made by privacy activists. So how do you choose a VPN provider? Well, you need to do two things. You need to evaluate your threat model, we will go over that on my channel in the future, and you need to do a lot of research and educate yourself about the topic. Never trust a single source. Don't even look at Torrent Freak or PCMag reviews. Look at what the community is saying about VPN providers. One good source of reviews of a lot of features from a lot of VPN providers is at thatoneprivacysite.net. Reddit is an excellent source of customer reviews, and you can browse those without having a Reddit account. You need to ask yourself some questions to see what you care about the most. Where is the jurisdiction of the VPN provider? Is it in any of the 14 ICE countries that collaborate with the NSA on mass surveillance and their government could force to log users? What steps are you willing to take against government surveillance? Do you want to keep your private information away from manipulative advertisers? Are you looking for protection of your sensitive information from hackers and cybercriminals, mostly when you are on a public Wi-Fi? Is your goal bypassing government censorship and geolocation blockade of internet content? What countries do you want to connect to websites from? How much are you willing to pay for a VPN? All of these questions are part of analyzing your threat model. If privacy is your biggest concern, then VPN is not the solution. Tor is. If you want a better security when you connect to a Starbucks Wi-Fi, VPN is a great remedy. Never ever trust a free VPN. Those are the most scammy out of all. Although VPNs came as a cheaper solution for business networking compared to leased lines, it's still pretty expensive to offer it as a free service. But now we are getting to answer to our third and most problematic question. How can websites track you even if you use a VPN? Let's say you find and buy your monthly subscription at a renowned VPN provider, and then you do something like this. You successfully configure your VPN connection, then you open your favorite web browser, which should never be Chrome, but statistically it most likely will be. You log into your Gmail, which Chrome takes as if you are logging into the browser itself for syncing, and then you browse the web for all kinds of purposes: education, work, entertainment, shopping, travel, whatever else. You just handed over all of your private information to the most privacy-violent corporation in the world. China doesn't have the surveillance capabilities of Google, and Google will sell your privacy to every website and retailer you visit. I recommend that you watch my video about Facebook surveillance and another video on how to use Facebook anonymously. If you don't block trackers properly, you are just wasting your money. You need to reassess your threat model. You need to ask yourself, From whom are you trying to protect your private information? Your internet service provider, vendors of software and applications connecting to the internet, website operators, advertisers, governments, and hackers. All of your adversaries use common points of access for data collection of your browsing history, either through your ISP, trackers on websites, identification codes on software and applications, and online communication tools like emails and instant messengers. For websites using trackers, everything about your identity remains unchanged except for your IP address when you use a VPN. What stays visible is your device, which probably has a unique ID, your hardware, software, configuration, operating system, software versions, web browser, browser plugins, extensions, screen resolution, battery life. Combination of all of this information and your browsing habits make a unique personal identification. And what's more, you are giving many websites your real name to confirm your identity anyway, like your Facebook and email accounts and every online retailer that has your payment info. If you are serious about privacy, you need to block all of these access points. VPNs block ISPs, Tor blocks governments. How do you block websites from tracking you? By using privacy-configured web browsers and by compartmentalizing your browsing habits over separate browsers. There are several extensions that block trackers, ads, cookies, and traffic analytics scripts. Among the best are Umetrix, NoScript, uBlock Origin, Privacy Badger, Cookie Auto Delete, and Decentralize. You don't need to use all of these. Properly configured Umetrix will make all the others redundant. Take uBlock Origin and Privacy Badger and set your browser to block third-party cookies and delete them regularly. But even if you go all these lengths, you'd still fail if you do the same mistake as I described earlier. You have to block access to websites with your online accounts, even pseudonymous ones, to your browsing habits. Have a separate browser for your social media, email, and banking, and a separate browser for general surfing. Only if you block all trackers, only if you put a wall between your online identities and browsing habits. Only then using a trusted, privacy-focused VPN has some sense. Which VPN provider do you use or consider using? Let me know in the comments and I will answer any questions you have about them. I can even give you some of my technical insight about those VPNs and maybe help you choose your provider even better. If you like this video, please tell YouTube that it's good so that it is suggested to more people. I do my job with search engine optimization, but YouTube really needs confirmation from the audience. If you increase your engagement like you have done in the past on my videos, which I'm very grateful for, my videos will truly rank better because of you. So thank you very much and subscribe if you're new to my channel. See you later.